and said stay tuned, so I take him on his word.
But what about these directors continuing to serve on the JP Morgan board? Is 53% enough to justify being a JP Morgan board member? That is a very slim margin of victory. Just 6 percentage points.
Well, the one director didn't show up today. I think that's a sign that that person will not stay on the board. Again, that's not a difficult call. Look, they strive to have best-in-class corporate governance at JP Morgan. They cannot ignore the fact that 3 directors got under 60% vote. We're going to see changes on the board. I think JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon would rather make changes on their own terms rather than being forced to do so by others.
Here's the ultimate question for shareholders, Mike. Is JP Morgan a stronger company now for what we saw take place today?
Well, Jamie Dimon won in a landslide. Some directors might have to move off, but the regulatory tail risk is not going away. A federal investigation of JP Morgan, Department of Justice, one day they might drop papers off on the doorstep of JP Morgan, so you still have that regulatory tail risk.
All right, Mike, thanks very much. Adam, I want to send it back to New York City. Who can put it into a better perspective than our friend Mike Mayo of CLSA, calling it a landslide, but the regulatory burden still hangs over the bank they call JP Morgan.
Yeah, very much so. Eric Schatzker with widely followed banking analyst Mike Mayo at the JP Morgan shareholder meeting. Thank you, Eric. You know, amazing when you think about what's happening in corporate America today. You've got senators in Washington grilling Apple about paying taxes. We've got shareholders going back and forth in Florida over whether Jamie Dimon can keep his 2 roles. It's really Main Street and Washington almost versus Wall Street in some ways today.
Right, the collective grilling of
Yes.
CEOs, but Jamie Dimon holding on to his chairman and CEO role, especially 32% voted versus 40% last year. So clearly, the question now being, can JP Morgan get out from under this?
Yes.
And the continued headlines surrounding this sort of move on and do business.
Yeah, moving forward. And by the way, we should know JP Morgan up $1 today. What's also particularly noteworthy about JP Morgan, certainly from the point of view of an analyst like Mike Mayo, this stock is trading at book value. Historically, banks have traded at more than book value, typically as much as 2 times book value. Right now, the average is 1.2, so JP Morgan's still trading at a discount to its peers.
And the question kept being headed into the shareholder vote, do the numbers actually matter?
Yeah.
Or does this headline and the controversy around
Speaking of whether the numbers matter, in Washington, they are taking a very brief recess, about 10 minutes, before they go back to grilling Apple executives about their own numbers and the various tax liabilities and whether Apple is using them in an unfair kind of way.
And we will continue to follow that for you. We also like to update you on some breaking news on Herbalife. The company is hiring PricewaterhouseCoopers to serve as their independent accounting firm to audit the company's financials for this year. We'll also re-audit the company's financial statements for 2011 and 2012. Remember that KPMG resigned back in early April because it found an employee was allegedly trading on insider information. You can see the stock was halted and now rallying a little bit. We're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back in just 2 minutes. do have breaking news on Herbalife. The company has hired PricewaterhouseCoopers as auditor, replacing KPMG. Julie Harmelle has the latest. Julie.
Well, this has been an outstanding issue for the company. Remember, KPMG resigned as auditor after allegations that one of its employees was engaged in insider trading involving not just Herbalife but also Skechers. And there's also another friend of his who has been implicated in the investigation as well. So given that Herbalife was sort of up in the air, had been looking for an auditor over the past several weeks, and prior to its latest earnings report, it said that really it would be hiring an auditor very soon, but didn't offer more details on that. So today, coming out with that news that indeed PricewaterhouseCoopers has been hired as the auditor. Now, a couple of items of background here. Of course, just to remind you, this is the company that Ackman, the hedge fund investor, has called a pyramid scheme and shorted very publicly. Carl Icahn then took a large stake in the company of about 16%. So those are the two hedge fund managers that have been going sort of head-to-head over Herbalife and the future of that company. This hiring an auditor sort of removes just one more obstacle for the company. Now, PricewaterhouseCoopers is not only going to be auditing the company's future statements, it's going to go back a couple years and audit those statements as well. Another item of context here is what the shares have been doing in recent days. Yesterday, they gained about 11%, and before this announcement today and before the shares were halted, the shares were up, fluctuating anywhere from 1 to 3%. Now they remain higher by 3 to 4%. What I've been hearing from traders is that there was some short covering going on with the stock, and so we'll be continuing to watch it here. It looks like it may still be below the level at which Bill Ackman shorted it, or the average price. We'll be talking about that a little bit later today as well on Money Moves. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks so much, Julie. Adam, it's interesting if this really clears away the distraction that we've been seeing hanging over Herbalife over the last few months.
Stock is practically back to where it was before this whole thing happened. We'll take a very quick break and then head back to Washington, where Congress grilling